All right. Good morning. The sun is directly in my eyes today. I am at the house. I'm getting ready to go to the shop. Been working this morning trying to get some stuff planned out for the summer and some new ideas and some thought processes, and it takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of things to try to focus on and figure out details and all of those types of things. But I'm excited about the possibilities. This morning, yep, I did get a haircut. I don't know who's on Facebook, but I did get a haircut finally. My sister-in-law, Courtney, cut it all off, and my hair is ridiculously hard to cut. So, hi, Christy. I have a bunch of like weird spots in my hair, so it's hard to cut, but I think she did a really good job. So I'm excited about it because I knew I had a problem when the hair was getting in my eyes. So lesson this morning, the verse today, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5. And I feel like this is always a hard topic, a hard discussion. It's always hard for me. It said water drip on my computer. That's great. First Peter chapter 5, verse 5. And again, something that's always hard when you're looking at scripture on what to work on and focus on, and you get one of these where Peter's writing, "Clothe yourselves, all of you, with humility toward one another. For God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Be subject." It talks about here, but clothe yourselves, all of you, with humility. And humility, I think, is an incredibly hard thing to have in our lives. It's challenging to think through, to work towards, because I think it sometimes is veiled. There are a lot of times where I am so focused on being humble that actually that there is a pride of being humble, and so, but then there is the danger of becoming very prideful and not being humble. And so humility is a very hard one, but I think it's so vital. I think, again, most of the time when we read in scripture, we hear that God opposes the proud. And so I think so many times when we are prideful, when there is an involved, God even lets that go. I don't think that it's not that he turns away from it. I think that he literally fights against it. And so when you are prideful, I feel, and you're prideful and you're trying to serve God, I feel that there are a lot of times where God will literally make things harder and more challenging for you, because it is not just a pride, or it's not just a thing. He's trying to oppose it. He is trying to go against that. I think that God sets things in place and God does things for you that normally you would have to do on your own. I'm sorry if you hear the dog that has joined me on the side here. Not my dog, because my dog would not bark like that. But it's a challenging thing. We have to be humble. And I think being humble is very hard. I think being truly humble is very hard. Being about yourself. truly being humble and submitting yourself to me. And what I see in Scripture is submitting to God and is submitting to those in charge of you, responsible for you. And so therefore you are literally giving up, you are putting your life in the hands of somebody else, even if that's God. But also a lot of times means other people, parents, and you, until you are let go or until you are on your own, you are responsible and you're required by Scripture to give your life into the hands of your parents and to be humble. Let them make decisions for your life. And even when you don't want to, when it goes against them. And then eventually, you get to a spot where you start making those decisions. But even adults would tell you that they're not free of everybody. When you become married, you have when you and pastors. When you go to work, you have a boss. There's so many places that you are expected to be humble. And when you are prideful, you create a lot of issues. When you are humble, those things, they don't go, I won't say issues go away, but those things become different. People argue, and I know I'm talking here, and hopefully I'm not rambling too much, but people will say, but I would say humility and true humility, Christian humility would say, I'm willing to give up of myself. I'm willing to sacrifice myself. So therefore, I can be humble. I don't have to worry about being taken advantage of because I'm freely giving it. And there's a humility in that. Of saying, and I'm going to trust him so much that if he asks me or I feel like he's telling me to do something, even if I going to get taken advantage of, or I feel like I'm setting myself up to do that, I'm okay with that because that's what, I'm trusting God. I'm not going to trust myself. I'm going to trust God. This, I feel like this example is given by Jesus multiple times that most people would say he was taken advantage of or not treated properly or not given to him what was due, and he humbly submitted to God and said, God will give me what I need and God will take away what I don't need, or take away what he wants to take away, and I'm going to trust him and be submissive to him. And so I think humility is hard. My challenge this morning, and again, I know it seems simple, but I think it's incredibly hard, is to be humble, but be humble in such a way that you just sacrifice everything first, that you think to help others and to do things for others. And I think when we do live this life, I think God honors that. I think God gives grace and God gives peace and God gives power and God takes care of. Jesus, gives us the example, and I'm in my head right now, I'm thinking of him being in the desert. He humbly submitted himself to go into the desert for 40 days and God took care of him. I'm not telling you to go do it for 40 days. The desert, what God's asking you to do, submitting to him, loving him, then I think God supplies every one of your needs. I think God takes care of you, and I think God gives you what you need. He may not give you what you want, and he may really convince you, or you might have to go through some challenges of you don't think you're getting what you need, but trusting that God is giving you what you need, and you're trying to figure that out. So this morning, again, 1 Peter 5:5, clothe in humility. That should be what people know. Just humble, being willing to give up for somebody else, that is constantly willing to do what other people want and submitting to that, not arguing all the time, not being someone that is arrogant, always thinking they are right and always thinking they know best. And so be clothed in humility. And I think we see that in 1 Peter 5. And honestly, Peter being somebody that could speak about humility a lot, and the need for humility and what he does. So hopefully this morning, you hear the challenge, clothe humility. You think about that and you let that permeate your thoughts today, and through maybe the rest of this week, that you're humble and you are willing to sacrifice and do things for other people for the glory of God, ultimately, that we can bring honor and glory to Him, because it's not in our nature to be humble. It's not in our nature to sacrifice. It's our nature to what we want and to think what is supreme in our minds, not being humble and letting God lead. So I love you guys. Tonight, 7, if you can, tune in to Jason, Pastor Jason, finishing up the book of Galatians. And if not, I will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Bye, guys. Love you.